me clearly. America is not a racist country.
Okay, Dr. Phil is being dragged for a comment he made on reparations. Now, he made a comment that it would be a disaster to give reparations, and then he tried to say to any group, and he meant us because the show was about Black Americans getting reparations. So he was talking about us, but he tried to throw in there any group. No. And he said you would be broke in 6 months. Well, how come y'all never said this about the Native Americans or the Jews or any group, the Japanese that got money? How come nobody's going to go broke but us? And let me take you down memory lane. Let's not forget one thing. Dr. Phil is a racist, and I wish his show would go off the air. Wasn't it a Black woman by the name of Oprah Winfrey that even put him on the map and got him on TV in the first place? That woman got more money than Dr. Phil. She didn't mismanage her money, and she's a Black person. So maybe Dr. Phil need to get some lessons from a Black woman to better manage his money. To my recollection, he's not no billionaire. So the show was about Black Americans getting reparations. Now, you know, Black Twitter do what they do, and they're dragging the hell out of Dr. Phil. I'm going to go ahead and show you the video, and I will be back with the rest of my commentary.
Should be paid to Black Americans. The first condition is that reparations should be paid to Black Americans whose ancestors were enslaved in the United States. And this would require an expenditure of $14 trillion, which would be distributed evenly across the 40 million Black American descendants of U.S. slavery. That would be approximately $350,000 per person.
If you take $350,000 or $840,000 and you write a check to any group of people, Black, white, poor, homeless, whatever, you give any group of people that much money and say, there you go, best of luck, and you come back in 6 months, they're going to be broke. So whatever reparations are done, that would be an absolute disaster as opposed to guidance and help in creating generational wealth as opposed to income.
Right.
That would be an absolute disaster.
No one ever.
Whenever the subject of reparations come up and you see the negative reaction, it is racism. If the reaction was not like that for any other group that have received reparations in this country, and you see a whole different reaction when it comes down to Black Americans, aka byword African American, Black American, Negroes, it is racism. Okay, they can sit there and gaslight you and tell you it's not that, it is that. Dr. Phil has definitely showed his colors. So he had a show. That's why I laughed when he was like, anybody that get that kind of cash, anybody. No, the show was about Black Americans getting reparations. Then he decided to dive in, and he dove in when Dr. Doherty was talking. And that's when he started yelling out it would be absolute disaster. And you notice that's another thing. You notice how they want to pocket watch the reparations going to us, but they didn't pocket watch any other group that got it. But they want to pocket watch us, though. That's another point that is racist. They literally want to sit around and tell us what's going to happen to our money. And if it does, it does. It still do. Okay, we can't micromanage everything, but y'all used to trying to always micromanage us. And that's all Dr. Phil is doing when he made that comment. So, according to Atlanta Black Star, the TV star shared his hot take on Dr. Phil. He weighed in on the matter after Duke University professor William A. Doherty Jr. said every Black descendant of slavery should receive $350,000. He said 40 million Black Americans have families tied to enslaved people, which means the U.S. would have to come up with $14 trillion to fund a reparations effort appropriately. So that's when Dr. Phil weighed in. He found himself on the fans' bad side, especially out on Black Twitter, when he said slavery reparations would be absolute disaster. This show happened earlier this week. So Doherty explained the payments would look like those distributed during the height of the pandemic. It would be paid by the federal government in the same way in which the federal government has met the expenses that paid out for the purpose of trying to deal with the Great Recession, and also most recently with the economic downturn associated with the Great Pandemic. Dr. Phil shares that he thinks giving any American, he's not saying any, he means us, y'all, because the conversation was not about any American getting reparations. It was about Black Americans. So when he threw that in, he's gaslighting. Okay. Any American, um, giving them that amount of money would be irresponsible. So what he's saying is us getting money for reparations as descendant of slaves would be irresponsible and would do more harm than good. No. See, the problem is it would bother the hell out of the people that look like Dr. Phil. That's where the harm would be. It wouldn't, how would it be harm to us? It wouldn't. It would be harm to the people that got the ideology and thinking of Dr. Phil. So he's not having it so well. People are slamming the hell out of Dr. Phil today. Y'all, I still don't see how his show is still on the air. It's really not that great, to be honest with you. I have not watched a Dr. Phil show so long, I don't even remember the last time I watched one of his shows. It's been many years. I was never really that much into his show anyway. Even when he first came on the air, I was not sitting down and watching that show. I wasn't feeling him like that. You know, the only reason why he got the notoriety that he got was because of Oprah Winfrey. She liked him and she put him on the air. And she also put Rachel Ray, her behind, on the map. Who the hell ever heard of her? I never heard of her until Oprah introduced her. I never heard of Dr. Phil until Oprah introduced him. So if it wasn't for a Black woman, Dr. Phil would not be eating and living and loving life the way that he does. He can thank a Black woman for that, because he sure didn't do it himself. Not without a Black woman. Doesn't that sound very familiar, y'all? Just like the history of America. They sure didn't do it all by themselves. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit it on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.